Now I go to the app.js file. I'm going to use the HTTP service that I've recently created. Inside the body of the login function here, first of all, I'm going to send these two values to the server. I mean the email and password of the login form. Here, I create two variables. The first variable is the email, and its value is the scoop.form.email. And the second variable is the password, whose value is the scoop.form.password. Now I'm going to create another variable, and I call it data, which is going to be an associative array. The first key of this array is going to be what underscore to underscore do, or what to do, and its value is going to be authenticate user. I should tell you that based on the value of this key, the PHP script will decide what to do with the form data. The second key is going to be the email, whose value is email. And the third key is going to be password, whose value is going to be the value of the password variable. As you know, I have created an HTTP service and I injected it here. Now I am going to use this HTTP service. http.post, and here I use the data array that I have created. And this post function that you see is going to be called in this statement. And now I am going to set its return value to a variable, and I call it request. Now I'm going to call its send function, http.send, and the first parameter is the value of the request variable, and the second is going to be an anonymous function, which takes a parameter as the response which comes from the server. Now inside the body of this anonymous function, I'm going to alert the data which comes from the server. Now I go to the server.php, and here I create a variable to hold the data which comes from the client. I use this function of PHP along with this string as a parameter. Using this line of code, we can receive the data from the client. Now I return this data back to the client. I save the changes and go to the browser. I reload the page and write my email and password. And hit the login. Wonderful. We could send other requests from the browser or from the client to the server, and we could receive the response of the server using AngularJS. Here there is an alert for me which tells me that the server has sent you an object as the response. Now I close this alert and go back to the PHP script. Now I encode this form data using JSON encode function of PHP and save the changes and go back to the browser. I hit the login, and here there is an alert for me which tells me that this is the data which has been returned by the server to the client. Now I remove this line of code and create a variable here and call it $data and set its value to the JSON decoded form of this form data. I use the JSON underscore decode function of PHP to decode this form data, I mean the data which comes from the server. Now I create a variable and call it what underscore to underscore do, or what to do, and set its value to the what to do property of the JSON decoded object, I mean this data. So using the arrow operator, we can access a member of an object in PHP. Now I return this value back to the client. I save the changes and go to the browser, and here I hit the login. As you see, this authenticate underscore user is the value of the what to do member of that JSON decoded object, I mean that data. Now I close it and go back to the code. Here I say if the value of this what to do equals this value, I copy it and paste it here. Here I say authenticate this user. Authenticate the user against the database. Now I remove this line of code and save the changes.